offer up a short prayer as his habit when he comes to a new city.
Sure. So you're going to offer a prayer to Arandis?
Yeah, kind of a more general thing, not a specific request to him, more just a statement of, we more for Rede because this is more of a war thing for him, but more of a statement of appreciation of his potential assistance in recent battles. Kind of a. Reed's kind of like that. He's gonna thank for the assistance he would have recently received. Pray for additional assistance in the future to help continue to kind of protect those unfortunates that he comes across.
Sure.
Kind of that general obeisance, I believe.
Okay. And the priest smiles again, sort of nervously, and says, that is good, my son. I was worried when you brought in these weapons and your armor. Usually, even the Dawn Guard do not enter the chapel fully armed, such as you. So, I would ask that you make your obeisance and then leave quietly and as quickly as possible. I do not wish to upset the populace.
Rhea is seriously going to look embarrassed at not really thinking about that and nod extraordinarily quickly and then glance around, kind of rubbing his hand nervously. This kind of catches him off guard, and then nods and says, "Okay, I will. I will do so quickly. Where also may I pay my tithe as I do my diligence in here?"
You may pay your tithe directly to me, my son, or there's collection plates set out every few meters up in the front.
Reed's going to very, very quietly and carefully reach into his pouch, and he'll pull out about 17 gold pieces
Okay.
to hand to the gentleman in front of him.
Okay. And he takes it and slips it underneath his robes and says, "Oh, bless you, my son. Thank you.
And
the
then
church thanks you."
From that point, Rede will quietly slip into a pew and take a few moments of kind of a silence and thought.
Okay. Zixo, I assume you're not just standing there. You're going to do something too.
No, I'm. This isn't where I pray, so I'm just sort of watching him and just kind of looking around like a tourist.
Nice. Okay. We'll go over to Elessar and Kai. So you guys going together to the blacksmith first, or the magic shop first?
Yep.
Blacksmith.
The blacksmith, all right.
Okay. Let me get these windows down. Hold on.
Smithy.
Okay, so we've got hot pokers and furnace. You guys move along the street, heading towards the direction of the blacksmith. As you get closer to the port, you can smell the fishy and salty air. Even at this hour, some of the boats are coming in. Some of the fishermen are still securing their loads and making preparations for the morning. There's even a few that seem to be heading out. Interestingly enough, the calls from the dock masters and the calls back and forth between fishermen still fill the air. It's not quite quiet time in the city yet. You approach the blacksmith. You can still hear whoever's in there working diligently. Several hammers seem to be ringing. There's more than one person in there. You enter the building, and it's just a wide open shop. There's no walls, not really even a desk. It's just directly into the work area. To your left, you see the forge and the anvil, along with a few, what's it called when you, dowsing tubs. There seems to be 2 or 3 of different types of liquid that are in there. You see in the back, there's 3 separate apprentices, 2 that are swinging hammers, and 1 that seems to be hanging up his apron and securing his tools. to the right, there's a small doorway heading out to what you thought was outside, but it looks to be sort of a small closet or an office or something. And upon your entering, out of there comes a thin but tall elf with a gray hair and scar that runs along one side of his mouth, not between, but across both lips, giving him sort of this sneering look. He regards you. He seems to be about middle-aged for an elf. He regards you and smiles slightly and says, "Hey, brothers, how can I help you today?"
Yes.
Well,
Master Blacksmith. Yeah, I would like to buy a set of arrows. Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, I've got some arrowheads. You might have to head to the Fletcher to get some arrows.
Okay. Okay then.
Technicalities, my friend. Technicalities.
All right. I'll do that.
Is there anything
Okay,
else
then.
I can get you? Any daggers? Perhaps this javelin of lightning I've got back here. I've yet to sell it to anyone, and you look like some fine folk who could be in use of it.
Depends on how much does it cost.
Oh, just measly sum of 1,400 gold pieces. It's well worth it. Giving you quite the deal.
Wait. 1,400.
Yes.
No, not as of now. I was wondering if you have any studded leather armor.
Ooh, and he sort of sucks on his teeth a little bit. I'm very sorry. I'm all out of armor. The military recently just came through and grabbed every last bit that I had, from some of my finest cured leather all the way up to my full plate armor.
Damn it. I don't know.
I
came
do
here
have
for
some shields. I do have some shields that were left over.
Out of character, is there actually a better shield that gives you more AC, or is it just
No.
Oh, this one's a shield that is of finer make, and I don't know what you mean when you say AC, but
He
I know
said
that
out
it
of
protects
character.
you.
He said
Oh,
out
I
of
said
character.
that. That's not character. Okay.
Well, then out of character, yes, he has a shield +2.
Oh, Jesus. Wondering how much will that cost?
And he looks at you and he
yeah.
says,
Then I'll
"Well,
help out Paladin.
if the 1,400 gold pieces of the javelin is too much for you, then my good friend, this one's too much for you. Let's just move on."
Let's not bother with this. Let's move on.
And
Unfortunately, I was mostly
Guys
looking for
like
the armor.
guys looking at Elessar and he's like, I think we should have worked more for higher paying jobs or something. I don't know how this works in these human communities. And we are
Talking
just
to an elf.
we what?
No, but the elf hears you and he nods and says, "Yes, the ways of the humans are quite odd. However, I can point you in the direction of my good friend, a fine Fletcher. However, I don't think he's open at this hour at night."
That's quite unfortunate.
Elessar, my friend, we are both of us are just out of jungle, and we are just finding our way in the city. So let's take a break for the night. Hi.
And then hockey rolls for highway robbery.
He already did. It was 1,400 for a javelin, and more than that for shield +2.
We can remember for next time we come here, you know? A shield +2, how much AC does that give? Like 6? Oh my
It
god,
gives
no,
4.
probably not 6.
Give you 4.
That's still pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, it's suddenly with a guy wearing chainmail, it's at 20 AC automatically.
Yeah.
I've been looking at those price tables. It makes me depressed.
I've
Shame that the
been
armor-
super stingy with money with you guys, just so you know.
E-
You guys have been traveling through the countryside, so
Yeah.
it makes sense, but you'll hit your payday.
Hi, if I was playing a rogue,
If you were playing a rogue,
If only. If
If you-
only.
if you were playing a rogue, Adrik would have died back there. All right.
Let's not
Well,
try to steal the shield +2. I'm not sure it's gonna go well.
The blacksmith sort of he bids you good night and turns to help one of his apprentices.
Yeah, I'll just say thank you for your hospitality and hope you have a nice day.
Please.
Thank you for entertaining us. We got to see some expensive shit. If we can buy.
Please, someone try to rob
Hashtag
me.
consumerism is.
These country elves and their
Oh,
strange
boy.
dialects.
Them Duke boys are at it again.
I'll probably have a
Oh,
look
boy.
towards the magic shop then, make my way. I'm gonna ask Kai if he wants to go with me. Maybe something might interest him in
Sure,
the magic
man.
shop.
If it works out well,
Okay.
then why not?
I'm not gonna go to this magic shop, ask for some potions, and then be told that there's a potion shop somewhere else in town. I know.
You very well might. I mean, this is a city. This isn't a town, so you have to think things are going to be diversified. So there's most
Yeah.
likely an alchemist. If you're looking for potions, you want to go find an alchemist.
I'm
If
still
you're looking
interested
for
in magic
magic
shop.
weapons and magic artifacts, then a magic shop is where you want to go. A magic
Yeah,
shop probably will have
more.
some potions, but it's not. It's going to be higher priced than at an
Yeah.
alchemist who actually deals in
And
that
all the
stuff.
stuff there is gonna be.
You're also in a
So-
center of trade and commerce where money is kind of a little bit more common than we've been led to expect, or not led to expect, but than we would expect having been on the road. Things are going to be
Yeah.
expensive here.
At the same time, it could drive down prices if there's a glut of something.
True.
But that's mostly going to be commodities. It's not necessarily going to be magic items or armor or something like that. So,
I'll still go there.
So,
It's just
so
drool.
Elessar,
and
what
super
specifically
powerful
do you want?
I was hoping for maybe a couple of scrolls that might help us, or who knows,
okay.
something.
You guys start heading to the magic shop. We'll go back to Dretan. Are you going to go somewhere else? Where are you going?
In this case, I'm probably just gonna go back. If the library's closed, then probably any sort of post office would be as well.
Okay. So Dretan heads back. Rede and Zixo.
And gets robbed along the way.
And does what?
And gets robbed along the way.
No.
Aw.
It's not late night. It's you are especially are in the center street. You see plenty of guard patrols and whatnot.
I'm gonna take the longest way to get back home.
Okay.
So you're going
All right.
You're going home by way of the Narrows up there, apparently.
He's gonna go take a look at Pugman's Rock and just check it out and see
Yeah.
what it's like.
I need to come up with a couple of songs to entertain the townsfolk here, because they're gonna like to hear something about their own town and not just some random place.
Okay.
So
Rede
like,
and Zixo.
Reed would take about probably 30 minutes to finish up his things, and then he would try to find that same cleric or priest he was talking to earlier to try to ask him a quick question if he doesn't seem too busy.
Okay. We'll go back to Elessar and Kai then, if you're going to be about half an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys make your way to the magic shop that Portia had told you about. As you go by the harbor master's office, the quality of the buildings definitely declines. More buildings are closer together and sort of ramshackled. You can see shingles hanging off or shutters that are removed, broken glass in some windows. There there seems to be more of a smell of refuse and rotten fish in this area rather than sort of the cleaner smell of the port. As you get to the magic shop, it doesn't even really look like a magic shop from the outside. On the sign, you see it says "Wizards do it with staves," and you know that Zaguk, the proprietor, you know that he, like Portia said, deals in black market goods. As you approach, you notice that there's nobody in the street that you see at all. In fact, it's quite odd because you haven't seen anybody in the street for a little bit. And
Elessar, do you really want to deal with this at this hour of the day? I'm totally with you. I brought my weapons.
Never let the Druid and the Ranger go by themselves.
Maybe not.
okay,
Actually,
you guys are like literally
but who
like
knows,
5 feet from the door.
So
having
now
this
you're having
conversation.
cold feet.
Okay. Maybe we can. Maybe the black market is a lot more active right now. Maybe we can pick something up for a steal. Who knows? Pun intended.
Okay.
It's not dramatic irony if you're causing it in character. That's not how it works.
You approach the shop, and there's a small dirty window set inside the door. And as you're about to turn the handle, you sort of peek through, and you see inside this scene.
Oh boy.
Spooky.
Nice.
You can hear
Out of
low
these two
mutters.
robe guy- out of
We're
the-
about to rest. We're about to rest, right?
Okay. Okay. So who's who?
I might attempt to.
Those
do
are
a
people
little
you don't know.
sneakily.
Yeah, you guys are just seeing they're discussing. The gentleman sitting seems to have a little slight concern, but he's also conversing peacefully with these two. There's nothing inherently threatening other than that they're robed and hooded inside. You don't hear what they're speaking about. It's low whispers, low mutters.
Okay. I'm gonna tell Kai to maybe hide
Okay.
because I'm interested.
You want to go in alone? All right. I've got your back. I'll be here in the shadows.
It's you and me. Like
Do you
and
have
me
the spell slots for this?
Ghostbusters. Yeah, I think that's
Is
my
this the last one?
spell.
Okay.
That's the last one for level 2.
Okay.
Yep, and I'm gonna use that on Kaya and me, and go into a spider, like a tiny spider form, not a giant one.
Yeah.
Like wild shape
You want-
into a
You're
tiny
turning,
spider.
you're turning me into a spider too?
No, I can't do that.
No, you just get plus 10
Okay,
to your stealth check.
That's a really good stealth check.
I already did that. I'm good at that.
Okay.
It's
so-
Right.
alright.
Plus 14 on my stealth check now when I'm
Okay.
a spider.
What's a rogue when you have Kai? E.
Okay.
Cool.
That's
Right.
plus 6. So
Okay.
do I have advantage?
Yeah.
No, you're just. I mean, it's 1 point. It doesn't even matter. These guys aren't going to roll perception of 30. Don't worry.
If they did,
Okay,
you'd
so
be in
you-
huge trouble.
Yeah, look.
So you take a moment and softly whisper your incantation and wave your hand around, and Kai sort of melds into the background, almost disappears entirely, and you shapeshift into a spider and hang from the top of the doorway, and you guys are just waiting.
It's like we are being shady in this shady part of this town.
Yeah.
Just gonna blend
that's
right
amazing.
in.
That's some
I suppose-
skill right there.
I suppose there's like a little crevice I can crawl through as a spider, like below the door.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna walk in there, like hiding myself in the corner where I can listen in.
Okay. You crawl under the door. Kai's still outside. As you crawl through, the conversation begins to sort of take shape. You can hear maybe every fourth word or so. They still are talking very softly, and you're 20 feet away at the door. As you crawl across the floor and try and get closer, you can hear them beginning to talk a little bit about seems to be a transaction they're focusing on. And particularly, it's not coming up, crap. Okay. Particularly, you notice they're speaking about, they're talking about the guild and how he, and it's more of an honorific, it's definitely a he with a capital H, is not happy with the way things have gone recently. And you notice that the robes that they're wearing are black, deep black. And as you sort of get up on the wall and get a better vantage point, they seem to be almost concluding their conversation, but you notice that both hooded figures are elves, and not elves of Edrithia. There's sort of slight differences. You can tell that these are elves of Erelas, which is sort of an elven-based city to the southwest. And then they finish their conversation, and with sort of an ominous, we will be watching. And the proprietor of the store, he's a half-elf, gulps a little bit and nods, and then they exit out a back door, at the back of the shop.
Please tell me the proprietor's nickname is Commander.
Commander? No, it's not Commander.
Oh, okay.
I'm missing the reference.
Is that an XCOM reference?
XCOM reference.
Okay.
Yep, I knew it. We will be watching.
We will be watching.
Commander.
Nope. Zagic, the half-elf proprietor, he's seems to be a little shaken. He's got sort of odd jewelry all over. He's wearing several rings, a couple different earrings on each ear that aren't matching, and then he has this really elaborate, interesting choker that he wears. Sort of odd, but it's interlocking. It seems to be interlocking curved blades that sort of intricately wind itself around his neck, and it's quite prominent. So yeah, you're still a spider inside, and he goes about just sort of shuffling about, rearranging some of the stuff, and then goes back to a back desk and begins writing in one of his books.
Can I attempt to see what he's writing in his book, or is it just like a income note or something?
You go back and try and peek over his shoulder to see what it was, and you notice it's just a ledger of transactions. Nothing really of note.
Well, I'm gonna try and crawl out.
Okay.
Back to Kai.
All right. Takes you a couple minutes to traverse all the way back, and you crawl out from under the door, and you don't even see Kai. You don't know where he is. He's hidden so well.
Oh, well, I'm just gonna wild shape back still.
Okay.
Outside, like a little bit away from the door.
Okay.
No small spider going, Kai.
I don't think spiders could do
Enemies are
that.
not super
Well, like-
hearing.
Well, like the giant spider from Lord of the Rings.
Something like that, yeah.
I'm sorry, but we don't have
Alright,
here.
as he turns back to the normal form, Kai comes out of hiding and asks, "What is it? What have you got?"
I don't. Elves of Elrond, something about a guild. I missed a bit of it because my housemate came in and started talking to me, and I had to take my headset off. Did anyone else get most of it? Or I can just recap it through nice video, I guess.
No, it's just Kai's like he's if you can see his expression is like he heard about the city Elrond and the elves, but nothing much. Because he is also from south side of Edrithia. That's why.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they were local.
Elessar relates everything back to
And,
Kai, and the story is such. So you guys are on the same page.
Right, then.
Are those guys still in, or they went? I didn't see them come out this way.
Well, I didn't catch that because you were.
Yeah, no, they went out the back door.
Wait, is it me that's lagging?
Yes.
I think so. All right. So what do you want to do now? Should we go in?
Well, yeah, I'll.
I think we
want to
should
see
go
what
in
he's
and
got on the
just
side.
like, yeah, cool.
Okay, so you guys want to go in?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Like
Alright.
we don't know what was going in there before we came in, like nonchalantly.
Sure. All right, so you enter the building, and you see Zagic, the proprietor, turn as you enter from his books, and as he sees you, he initially seems to have a split second of fear that sort of courses through him. Then he sees it's you, and he smiles. Oh, great, new customers! Come on in, come on in. What can I do for you?
Well, I don't know, mostly looking for items that are of special origin.
Well,
I give him a bit awkward wink.
That is.
You'll need to be more specific, my friend. A lot of my items are of unique origin.
Maybe some that weren't.
Ask if there's anything in the $5 bin, okay?
Yeah.
No, that's how you get the boots of blinding speed and the scroll of Icarus wings. You don't want those.
Yeah, that's gonna ask him maybe something along the lines of a 5 gold bin.
His smile sort of is pasted on and almost crumbles. He says, "Excuse me? What is your budget, my friend? Let's get straight to the point and see if we should be spending our time here this way."
Oh boy, about 100.
Our budget is lack thereof.
And he gives a sharp laugh and turns to his side, and from a tray of some accoutrements, seems to be an item maybe that's taken apart or that he's trying to fix. He grabs a pinch of powder and then places it in front of you, and he says, "That will be 100 gold pieces."
What the fuck is that?
Oh boy.
That is the finest ion stone powder. That is the lowest cost item I have in my shop.
Guys, at this point, he's fist palming himself. Man, Elessar, we are so
See,
out
the
of
wizard-
our zone.
Yeah, see, the wizard in our party knew that we are so poor that we can't afford to buy anything.
Damn it!
That's iocane powder. 9.
Where?
You okay?
By the way, who has the amulet?
Amulet.
What amulet?
The
Reed has the
for-
amulet.
From the guy. Damn it.
What amulet is this?
You
Spark my memory.
you had mentioned that when Reed frisked crap, Mr. Airdan, I think you said his name was, something like that.
Oh, it's a medallion.
Medallion.
It's like it's a coin-shaped medallion.
Yeah, you had mentioned that you guys were not generally there, so anything he had on him, Reed has in his pack.
Alright.
So he also has those 2 unidentified potions.
Oceans. Okay.
Nope.
Well-
I don't know what that is.
I'm gonna.
All right.
I'm probably gonna apologize to him for wasting his time and be like,
And he
Other
gives you
than
a
that,
slight smile and says, "Good day, gentlemen." And
Other
he
than-
turns back around.
before we leave, if you could, because it's a big city and a lot of trade happen from there and there, and maybe some information is also shared with you, I believe. Could you tell me if you have heard of any kind of magic that can control a sentient being?
Oh,
Oh,
you mean
which
like a
is
charm
like-
person spell?
Maybe more intelligent and than mere human or else. Maybe like more
Are you
magical.
speaking of a
being,
planar force, demonic or celestial?
most likely. Have you heard of someone performing such spells?
Well, it's
Mm.
quite often you see demons that are brought to this plane and bound by the will of a sorcerer or wizard. As for celestials, they are a bit more difficult to control in that way. Usually there's some higher power that directs their actions.
Uh-huh.
And usually
Uh-huh.
the celestials are too much of a mess to get involved with. I leave that to the clergy, the divine.
Yeah. Maybe you're right. So, have you think maybe if there's a slight chance of that happening, could there be anyone, a sorcerer or a wizard or anyone that has that much capability of controlling a celestial? Do you have a name or something?
Of controlling a
name.
celestial. I can only think of a few
Group
in
of
all of
people,
history.
maybe.
I can only think of a few in all of history who would have that power.
Mhm.
I would have to see if any of the Solistrium have attained that type of proficiency. I don't quite often, honestly, discuss things with them as they are quite stodgy and full of themselves. But the Solistria might be where you could inquire, direct that sort of questioning. Of course, if you are,
Mhm.
and his eyes sort of gain a shiftiness to him. He leans in a little bit and says, if you are otherwise inclined, there's always alternative aligned members of the magic community. I know of a few down
Mhm.
in the south, in the Qatari forest. There's a gentleman who may have that power.
All right. Thank you for this information.
Oh, you're welcome, good sir.
Have a nice evening and
You
good day.
too. Good day. And he turns back to his book.
All right. And with that, Kai walks out with Elessar.
Okay. Kai, you are not Kai. Sorry, Reed. You finish your worship, your meditations,
Mhm.
and you said you wanted to find that same cleric that you had talked with before.
If he's nearby and doesn't appear to be busy.
You see him up near the front, conversing softly with another member of his clergy.
Rede would kind of make his way up and try to politely get his attention, if at all possible. Doesn't want to be rude. He's already carrying weapons, apparently, where he's not supposed to be.
As you approach, he immediately dismisses the other member and turns to you with a smile and says, yes, my son.
I do apologize for interrupting. I was wondering, we just had an audience with the High Lord up there in the fort. He didn't seem to be especially positive about the local priesthoods. Is there a reason for that?
And his smile sort of falls a little bit. Well, the Lord Regional Commander is a gentleman of certain tastes, and you could say that his tastes and the church do not quite align.
I'm going to assume that Rede is intelligent enough to read between the lines there. He slowly nods and then kind of coughs into his face, says, I'm sorry about bringing that up. I was just kind of curious if there was something I could help with on that.
It's fine, my son. As a newcomer to town, the political currents are understandably new and exciting. We in the church desire much more to remain in the background and not stir things up.
The paladin nods a little bit and thinks for a moment and says, if you wouldn't mind, do you know, I have a party of folks here who have recently found themselves with no immediate concerns. Is there anything we can do to help around here that you know of while we twiddle our thumbs and wait for things to progress?
Oh, well, as a priest of this abbey, I personally don't think a group of adventurers would be well suited to the tasks that I perform. However, and he holds up a finger, he says, I do know that the Captain Calvis, the Dawn Guard captain here in the city, has certain activities that he has been hard-pressed to perform due to the small size of his squadron, his battalion that's here. And again, and he sort of indicates behind you back towards Fort Falstead, he says, the certain restraints that have been placed upon him by authority. So I know that Captain Calvis is out at this time, but he should be back within the next day or so. And I believe that you can arrange for a conference with him in order to see if you can be of help. I think you would very much appreciate that.
And Rede nods the smile and says, I will absolutely be going to talk to him. And if you would, one last question. Recently, I've come across an odd medallion and a couple of potions of uncertain make. Would you happen to have a recommendation on who I could go to kind of ascertain as to what properties these might have?
Oh, well, we in the church could do that, but however, if you want to be more efficient, there are a few alchemists in the area. For the medallion, would you mind if I took a look? I'm interested in seeing what sort of a medallion it is, whether it has magical properties or not.
And Rede nods and kind of reaches into a pouch and pulls out that same medallion he had taken off the man earlier, and hands it over. And
he grabs the chain and sort of lays the medallion part in his palm. Oh my! Where did you get this, my son?
Rede kind of gestures in the vague direction of the outer wall, sort of southwards, if he can kind of figure out where he is in the area, and then says that as we were coming up the road towards Falstad, my companions and I came across a old man who was being shaken down for tithe, as we were told. Naturally, I was not pleased with that and had words with the man doing so. Turns out he was some sort of sympathizer to the First Empire and had this in his possession. I was trying to make sure he didn't have anything he could use to further harm the locals, and was trying to see exactly what he was carrying with him.
I see. How far south did you say?
So Rede is, without having exact details myself, Rede's going to kind of indicate kind of where that would be, kind of next to the inn.
Oh, Kaldar's place. Oh my, okay. Well, this is startling news, my son. Thank you for showing me this. And he hands it back. He says, that medallion is given to a select few in the First Empire. The only reason I know of it is because I have only seen one other before in my lifetime, and that is the one held on display in the capital city of Edrithia. That was captured from the commander of the First Empire forces. Whoever you captured who had this is a significant member of the First Empire.
So out of character, I'm just going to say I love the fact that Rede charged that asshole and got us in that fight.
Of course you did.
Rede kind of slowly kind of wraps up the medallion and the chain and kind of puts it in the pouch and nods and says, I should probably bring this back up to the High Lord when we see him next. I greatly appreciate your information, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes, my son. Yes. Yes. Go with peace. Thank you. And he turns around, quite distraught and distracted.
And that's going to catch Reed's attention most likely. But knowing what he knows now, most likely he's going to kind of ignore it. And having done his business, he will kind of head on out and try to gather Zixo with him. Okay.
And you're heading.
This time of night, probably back to the inn. Rede can do the rest of his errands tomorrow.
All right. Dretan, as you've traversed the city, sort of, putting your finger on the pulse of the town, trying to see the active night spots and see where people end up during the night. You've sort of traversed a good portion of this southeastern quarter and a little bit to the west. Tried to get through the military compound, which seemed quite boring, but you did see streams of soldiers leaving the compound as their evening routine is done. It seems that discipline is a bit lax. They're allowed to go out into the city. They're not necessarily regimented or kept separate from the populace. You spend roughly about the same time. Everybody's getting back to the inn at about the same time, and there's still revelry going on, and you can hear the music playing and whatnot. As you all sort of gather or stagnate a little bit in the main room, just sort of enjoying the time. Portia was by the door, and now she's back among the kitchen, talking to one of the girls there, and suddenly the door slams open, and framed by the darkness outside is an armored woman. Jet black hair and glowing red eyes. And she brings her hand up to her face and begins to claw it.
Mm?
And everybody in the inn is silent for a moment, and then near the back you hear a couple women start screaming, and all hell breaks loose. And we're going to end it right there and wait till next time.
You bring us to the nicest places.
I didn't bring us here.
What for real? Me and Elessar and I are already having a bad night.
That's it. My voice is shot. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. Man,
So wait, hang on.
You're
Is
awesome.
everyone in the inn then? Everyone sees this right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's
yeah.
there's a populace. There's
nobody that's not watching this.
yeah.
Just to make sure we have all arrived at the inn at this point, like we're all inside at this point.
Yes, yeah, you guys, honestly enough, arrived back at roughly the same time.
Okay.
Oh boy, I know what I'm
Probably been
gonna
in for
do.
like
Start
5
the next
minutes
session.
just about planning for our next step, and this person walks in.
Yeah, you just sort of, the first ones who were there trickled in, and instead of heading back up to your rooms, just sort of hung out in the main room for a sec.
Just the nicest people. I don't know why an inn named after a corrupt politician should have given us any room for doubt. Yeah. And Rede hasn't restocked.
None of us have rested as well.
That is also true.
It shouldn't be too bad of a thing. I mean, you guys did blow a lot of spells beforehand, but
I'm not too terribly concerned. I know what Reed's packing.
Yeah, but you're a fucking paladin. You shouldn't be concerned with spells. You just smack them
Okay,
twice and they
can
die.
we talk about the times that I did tons of damage and exactly how
Yeah.
that was done? Let's
He's done a
remember
lot with
exactly how Rede has done that stuff.
Oh, right, Divine Smite, then
Yep.
the Flame Strike, yeah, alright.
I don't care about spells.
On the plus side, I'm totally sure that Red Eyes is like Fiend or something. Like, I'm sure I can pull something off.
What if she's just some random whack job that she started clawing at her face?
Well, step 1 is try to punch her out. Step 2 is go beyond there.
Step 1.
Step 1, knock her the fuck out.
Okay. I just want to ask. So, some random woman walks in, glowing red eyes, jet black hair, apparently in armor, and starts tearing at her face. You have only a couple of options. Number 1, she's demonic, in which case she should not be allowed to do things. Number 2, she's possessed, in which case she should not be allowed to do things. Number 3, she's psychotic and should not be allowed to do things. Number 4, she's self-mutilating and should not be allowed to do things. In all of these situations, a quick
I can
sucker...
definitely tell you're not a feminist.
No, I am. Because if any of those
What
4
if she's not
situations
allowed
was
to
a
do
man,
things?
I would still say sucker punch and knock him out.
And inspiration for Zixo.
But he's allowed to pass out, right? But
Oh,
she's not allowed to do.
Well, she's trying to intimidate a particular group of people with
Should
thaumaturgy.
not be allowed to do that.
No.
Oh,
It's really funny. I expected you guys to spend about half the session interrogating the dude,
No.
and then I expected there to be like all this stuff going on, and then
I want to inject this a second. Hey guys, when you come into a town, especially when you're not rich, there's no reason to go to all the different shops to look at all the things you can't buy,
Yep.
Yeah.
right?
I need
Again,
a mail
The pictures
letter
in
and look for
Discord are
information.
absolutely relevant.
As
Because that's exactly what I was thinking the entire time.
Well, truthfully, I'm glad we did not interrogate him immediately, because now we have some more context of how he fits into the picture before we interrogate him.
Do you honestly think you're ever going to see that guy again?
We
Out of
very well
character.
might. Yes, yes, I do.
yeah, we actually might. I still believe we can see that guy.
yeah,
I
Kai
don't know.
doesn't believe
Like,
that.
Maybe he's missing a few teeth, a few fingernails are gone, you know, but I think we'll see.
Yeah, he might not be in great shape, but I think we'll see him.
I think we'll see his head on a pike over the gate.
I'm already preparing spells for this encounter. Come on.
Like, I'm expecting us to get attacked in the inn in the 4 rooms that are right next to each other on a very specific level that allows us to have no escape. I mean, I think this High
wait,
Lord
no,
is going
you
to
gotta
attack the
remember
hell out
you're-
of us.
Your wizard is sleeping down in the stable with the dog.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't originally an option. You did this weird thing that the High Lord wouldn't have planned for. It's why he wanted us to go to a very specific place. He doesn't like us.
Yeah, that's why.
The problem
that's the thing,
problem
that's the
is
thing. I think-
Rede would not think any of this crap so I can't have him act on it.
What would Pip be doing? Is he still hiding under your... No, she's still hiding.
Yeah, she's inside my backpack.
No, little Pip.
Yep, that's about right.
I've got a headache.
Oh, dang.
Like, for no reason whatsoever. It just came up.
There you go.
And I'm sitting there the entire time going, God damn it, if it wasn't for, I forget if it's his ideal? Yeah, it's his, no, not his ideal, his bond. Rede literally cannot do anything about the guy who I'm so incredibly suspicious of, and it is so damn frustrating. Because he just can't. It is so damn frustrating.
Haha.
So I'm sitting
If
this
I
entire
wasn't
time
good, I
going,
would've
like,
dropped all
Hockey's
the
dropping these hints and oppression. It's like, nah, Reed's into the church, he wouldn't notice. Nah, Reed appreciates authority, he wouldn't notice. It's like, God damn it! He should be doing things.
You wish he was.
Oh, it wouldn't be half as fun if I was allowed to do everything I wanted to do.
To be honest, don't let your randomly...
Wait, say again?
Well,
Say again, you got
Sorry. Sorry, I'm away from my computer for a second.
Oh, no problem.
I was going to say, don't let what you randomly rolled upon character creation to constrain how you want Reed to develop.
No.
As a character.
I'm not. That's a thing. I'm specifically choosing that this is how he would respond. So that's why I was asking you all those questions about background to see, based on what Reed's upbringing would be, how would he respond to this, and if this, if Ribera is acting in the confidence and empowered nature of the of the higher ups, basically, unless he does something specifically weird, Reed's not going to notice. He's like, okay, well,
sure,
he's part of what I owe my allegiance to.
The point also was, you don't know. This is a new situation for you,
right? But I'm thinking of Reed as, how to put it. He's the kid who grew up in elementary school, always cites the Pledge of Allegiance, always puts his hand over his heart, knows the national anthem backwards and forwards. He's going to respect authority. New authority figure comes in, he's not going to notice the weirdness unless someone points it out to him.
So he's like Gomer Pyle?
Not that naive.
Forrest Gump.
Not even that far. Like he was trying to put it together, and then the roll went badly, so he didn't. Like, he noticed something weird, and it's like, oh, well, okay, never mind, then I must have missed something. Like, that's the thing. It's not incongruous enough, because in his eyes, it's, no, this is how you treat potential royalty. They get big places and lots of money. That makes sense.
all right, guys. Going to bed.
All
It's
right.
been fun.
All right,
Good night.
good night.
We need these slower paced and less combat heavy sessions every once in a while.
Yeah, I pulled a lot out of my ass, so it was okay. So yeah.
No, that's absolutely good. I was enjoying listening, going, Oh, wait, did he plan that? Oh, that's really good if he didn't plan that.
Yeah, no. Well, most of this was unplanned. So the
No, 'cause you were
descriptions.
expecting us to. Yeah.
Well, the descriptions of the areas I had down, because
okay.
I built the city, but the people and reacting to, and like I said in Discord, I mean, it's really hard for me outside the first 15 minutes to decide what you guys are going to do. So
Yeah.
I basically have to build the wall around you, and sometimes you guys vault over the wall, and it's like, great, now what do I do?
That's about right. That really is.
Well, Reed's experience, I mean, nice experiencing it.
Well,
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's great fun.
oh, it is.
On the
Absolutely.
other side.
No, I think the further we go, it's going to be easier to get an idea of what everybody's going to do. But I think it's also going to help that, at least for the time being, we don't have a time-sensitive quest to go on. So for a little while, there's going to be no need to hurry, which is going to make it a little bit easier to be a little bit more predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Because so far, for the past couple sessions, we've had to weigh how important is this immediately versus the next thing that we absolutely have to do. And so a lot of decisions were made with that kind of scale in mind. You know, well, Dretan's going nuts, and we kind of need him, so we're going to have to save him. But, you know, we saved him. Okay, now we can leave. No. Nothing else. We can leave now. So I think that kind of messes things up, because we're sitting here going, well, we could interrogate him, but it's right there. We got this important thing to do. Look, we'll interrogate him later. Oh, people are taking him away from us. Well, so much for... Okay, we'll do something else now. So it's kind of that little level of weirdness.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
I don't think that was intended for us. It's enjoyable, and I need to start keeping track of exactly how much money Rede's going to have donated by the end of this campaign.
Yeah. I love that aspect. That
I actually had to go back and look through and start counting and go, how much does he need to do? I actually had to go back and do a little math.
14 gold pieces, man. That's a lot.
Well, a tithe is 10%. That's also one of the reasons why I was trying to make sure we divvied up ahead of time.
Right, but you don't even know what god you worship.
Nope.
So,
Is there a god that doesn't want payments and would frown upon him for putting in time?
there are nature gods, if that's what you're asking.
Well,
Imagine
I'd say from Reed's point of view, if you asked him that, he would say absolutely not, because you're not giving it to the god. You're giving it to the church to then spend on things they seem important.
Sure.
So what's kind of weird, if Reed didn't find the church to be so important, he would have probably thought twice about, why is this church look so wealthy? Because churches typically aren't. Why would this be so weird? Why would they find it weird that an adventurer would come into prey? Why would there be an oppressive atmosphere? He'd normally think about that stuff, but he doesn't. So even if it was a nature god, he'd probably still give a tithe just so maybe they have a bird sanctuary that they need to buy bird food for.
Bird sanctuary.
But that's the thing, every church has something they do. Reed's kind of thinking, okay, I'm going to give 14 gold. This can go towards the kiddies.
Sure.
Christmas dinner. I'll pay for it for ahead of time. The next thing he has to buy, the next thing he'd probably buy, if you could even convince him to do so, is better armor. And the next step up is 450, I think.
Are you in scale mail?
He's in chain, actually.
Yeah, you want plate
He started
mail.
with full chain, so the next step up is splint, which is 200. So it was just within his range if he did it immediately, but that wouldn't fit. He probably wants plate, but that's almost an order of magnitude more than he has.
Yes, plate's expensive.
Yeah, plate's absolutely expensive. But the other question is, you're going to have to argue with him and tell him he has to give up his family's chainmail.
Yeah.
I don't know how well that's going to work out.
What's your dexterity modifier?
-1.
I'm gonna get off from here. I have to study a lot.
Thanks, Kai.
Good luck, man.
Good night to you guys, and all the best to me. Bye.
Yes. See ya.
See you later. Yeah, his dex modifier is -1, so he wants to be in heavy.
Yeah, no, Splint would be good. What's your strength?
16, so he's easily
okay,
got.
Good.
Yeah, I was actually looking at all of that stuff while we were doing the original ride in, just to kind of see, is there an upgrade he can do? But unless he does a +1, there's nothing he can do. And then he'd still
Well,
have,
even a +1. I mean, you do chainmail +1. That's going to be almost 1,000
Yeah.
gold by itself.
so he's kind of off on that, and then he'd still have to reconcile giving up his family's gift.
Yes.
There you go. There's something we can visit Shadowsteel about. Maybe you can reforge your family's gift into a plate
Yeah.
mail plus
Like,
600.
That's something that would potentially come in. And I was also trying